target and the goal in my vision. Bang!
To tears. Gets the strikeout.
People depend on me heavily.
Deep center field. Mr. Brooklyn's done it again. It's Dylan Riley. It's time to go.
I gotta go. When they was telling me no, they said I'm
Just like that. True beam strikes out the side.
all I know is that work ain't gotta tell me how to get it. With my eyes on the target and the goal in my vision. Bang!
Blake Burke left the building.
I'm taking my shot.
It's gone. Hunter Ensley hammers one over the wall. Here comes Tennessee. This is Tennessee baseball.
Oh, what better voice to get you fired up for a weekend of Tennessee baseball than John Wilkerson on that intro video. Hello again, everybody. I'm Brian Rice, and welcoming you into First Pitch Friday. It is our great event presented by UT Knoxville Alumni and Tennessee Athletics. We thank you for joining us so much for our virtual pep rally as we get ready to beat the Tigers this weekend. Our event would not be possible without our great partners and sponsors, including Cellular Sales, Coca-Cola, Farm Bureau Insurance, First Horizon, Food City, Graduate Knoxville, Graphic Creations, Piltoe Company, PYA, Threads, and UT Medical Center. Now let's get started. Today's highlights include an interview with VFL Redmond Walsh, our keys to the game, and Redmond's keys to the game for a very important series against the defending national champion LSU Tigers this weekend. We'll take a look at some great clips from earlier this season and much more. Before we get started, if you have questions about this weekend's matchup with LSU or questions for our VFL, you can type those in to the comments section on any of the platforms you're joining us from here today, and we will answer those live coming up here in just a few minutes. Tennessee is currently 27-6 overall, in large part due to the impressive home run tally through the season thus far. The Vols have 87 home runs already in 2024. Let's take a look back at some of those big game-changing blasts.
Crushes one. Deep left field. Watch it fly. Ball. All they can do is watch it sail onto the porch. No chance. A rocket over the batter's eye. Grand slam. He's looking up. It's gone.
And it's out of here.
And that ball is gone. It's out of here. No doubter. It is a downpour.
We're thrilled to be joined today from right there in Knoxville by an Alcoa native VFL. That is Redmond Walsh. Redmond, hometown guy made good. How are you this morning?
Man, I'm good. Excited to be on here. Excited to talk a little bit of Tennessee baseball with you.
You got to see, and if you all have questions or comments for Redmond, just go ahead and type those into the comments section on any of the streaming services you're watching us on this morning. Or this afternoon, where I am here in Starkville, Mississippi with Tennessee softball, it's still morning, so I'm still off with that. But Redmond, you got to see kind of the launch of this Tony Vitello era of Tennessee baseball, and were a big part of those early years and the success. What did you see? What did Tony Vitello do when he took this program over to take it to the heights that it's at today?
Man, it was kind of simple. He worked harder than anybody. It was one of those things, you see it from being a player to my year coaching with them. I mean, there's not a guy in the country that goes out and does what he does night in, night out. And that's kind of the culture he built around was, hey, in the beginning, we didn't have the most talented teams, but he instilled hard work. He instilled, hey, nobody's going to be tougher than us. Nobody's going to work harder than us. By the end of the day, we're going to have more hours in the cages on the field than anybody else. So when everything was tough situations, all that stuff, we knew that our preparation was better than everybody else's.
And it seems like the teams get better as the year goes on, which I've always seen in my experience has been a hallmark of good coaching. He seems to push the right buttons at the right times, both in-game and as the season goes on. As a pitcher, how important is that he's on that same page with Frank Anderson as well to do that with the arms?
It's pretty humbling because you always know we've been lucky enough the last couple of years to have a great choices of arms at the end of the game. So you knew comfortable enough, hey, if you're out there and you got Kirby Cannell coming in, I'm comfortable enough that, hey, he's going to do the job. And then if he doesn't do it, you got somebody else right behind him too. And with the offense this year, if neither of them do it, then Christian Moore's probably going to hit a 3-run home run to put you ahead.
Okay, let's go to this current team for a second. We'll get back to your career in a moment. Watching this home run chase is so much fun because you're honoring one guy for breaking the record, and there's another guy that you may be honoring next week.
Man, it was funny because I actually texted Burke right after it and congratulated him, and I texted Christian Moore right after that, pretty much being like, "Man, you're not going to be better than you, are you?" And those two guys are, I mean, they're good friends, good buddies, but I mean, it's one of those things. You want the other guy to have success, but if you're a competitor, you want to have a little bit more success than that other guy did.
And you were in that kind of situation. You talked about those end-of-game situations. You were called on to close out games in some stressful games, some very important games over the year, and you share the career record for saves with some guy that people may have heard of, Todd Helton. What was that? What was approaching that record like and getting there?
Man, it was kind of crazy because that last year it felt like I wasn't ever going to get there with the runs we were scoring and the wins we were doing, and it's kind of the joke where it was rare for me to have a safe situation that last year, but as it starts becoming more reality, it's kind of unique and cool to grow up in Knoxville, to watch Todd Helton, to see his legacy go on, and to kind of have your name cemented with it is very humbling and very cool, and it's something that it's going to last for a long time, hopefully.
All right, enough of me. Let's take some questions from our audience today. Starts with Mallory. What was your favorite memory of your time on Rocky Top? And you had a long career with the extra year, with the red shirt year. What was your favorite memory over that time?
Man, when I look back to it, it's right after winning the SEC championship. The feeling was awesome, but there was a moment between me, Luke Lipsius, and Evan Russell where we almost turned around and bumped into each other. And that moment still gives me chills just because to know what both those guys went through to get to the careers they had, and just knowing that, hey, when we first got here, I mean, my first year, I think we were 7-21 in the SEC. The last place team to win in the tournament was just a validation of the hard work we put in to changing the culture, to kind of being like, man, look where we are now, look where we were, and look where we are now. So that moment at the tournament, winning it, being with those two guys is something I'll never forget.
Coming out of Alcoa, Tennessee at that time, as you mentioned, was not certainly at the forefront of SEC baseball, but it's an opportunity to play in the SEC. Did you consider going somewhere else or having a different career somewhere else, or were you always focused on the University of Tennessee?
I considered somewhere else for about 30 minutes after I got the offer. So I was fortunate enough to play for Coach Simcox, and when he took the job that summer, I think I was one of his first calls. And it's actually funny. Me and Luke Lipsius were the last two guys to commit in our class, and he called me. I told him I'd think about it. I called him back 30 minutes later, and I was like, "Hey, this is it for me." But it's one of those things. You grow up and you're right there down the street, and it's an SEC program. It's a team that you supported your whole life. And for me, I wanted to make an impact, and I wanted to be somewhere where it's home for me. And it was an easy decision from there.
Let's take a couple more from the audience. Butch asks, what the timeline on injuries? Hope guys are coming back soon. How difficult is it on a pitching staff particularly, when guys that you're counting on to lock down a day or two of the weekend aren't out there?
Man, it's tough as a fan, but as a talking it with like guys like AJ Russell and stuff, it's tougher on them because what people don't get is they're probably knowing by telling them they're probably holding them back more than he wants to, just because the guy's tough. The guy wants to be out there, wants to pitch. Probably not the smartest thing for him at times, but being the competitor he is and knowing exactly where you want to help your team win games. And I think V and them look at the bigger picture is, hey, it'd be better to have you fully healthy going into the SEC tournament, going into our last series, going into the regionals, than it is for you to pitch right now, right here, when we are having some success, it would be a lot easier with you out there. But I know, like with a guy like Russell, I think he wants to be out there as much as anything, knowing Woody and V and Frank, they're going to make the cautious decision, the best decision for him and the team to kind of give him a little bit more time than he should.
What's it like for a team to have the weekends like the last two that Tennessee's had where Friday night doesn't go your way, and it really doesn't go your way in a really big way, and then you bounce back and run away with run rule games on Saturday and Sunday? How does that happen?
And it kind of exemplifies everything Frank and V and Elander preach to us is, um, hey, you get punched in the mouth, what's your response? Are you going to stay down or are you going to get up and fight back? And that's kind of, like you said, one of those culture things that V's instilled in us from day one is it's always about, I mean, I remember my first scrimmage, he always talked about, hey, I don't care if you give up the home run. I want to see what your response is to what your next pitch looks like when you gave up the home run. It kind of shows the character of this team. I mean, they're a bunch of tough kids, a bunch of guys who have been through tough situations, and just going out and being able to play this game. And hey, Friday's not good. We're going to win Saturday and Sunday. It's pretty telling of how the team is built.
Let's take one more question from the audience. Leslie says, who would you like to see Tennessee play in regionals and supers this year? Always fun with some of those matchups. Is there a revenge or is there a good matchup that you look at watching across the country?
Man, I mean, the obvious answer is you'd love to see him play Wake Forest, see Burns come to Knoxville or something like that. But I think it'd be one of those things. It'd be heated. Burns is having a great year, and he's a great kid, and he, I think it'd be very fun to just see that environment, see both ways. I think too. I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best, and I think he did his thing, but he is a great pitcher and a great person. And I think that would be a very fun matchup. Outside of that, I mean, always an Arkansas matchup would be something. Van Horn and V, another one that would be back and forth, and just two guys I love to win and love to compete.
I'm going to ask you for your keys to this LSU series here in just a minute, but I also wanted to ask you about your academic career because my good buddy Josh Dobbs always got the press for being the aerospace engineering major. You were an aerospace engineering major and then went on to get the master's in engineering education. What was it like for you as a student athlete to balance how difficult that academic trajectory is and ultimately what you wanted to do beyond baseball and beyond the University of Tennessee?
It was tough. I was fortunate enough to be in a situation where people don't understand all the help that we have. Megan Anderson, who works at the Thornton Center, is probably the best in the world at what she does. And it was definitely tough balancing the two, but the amount of help you have is unbelievable. But yeah, man, it was one of those things. I mean, everybody, when they play collegiate D1 baseball or the SC level, wants to get drafted. And I could tell kind of the end of my career, hey, the writing was on the wall. I had good numbers, but I was a lefty throwing 85. I was 5'9", all this stuff. So I knew that I had to have a backup plan. I love the fact that I could go out, love to be an engineer, to love to do all that stuff. So right afterwards, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was fortunate enough with that too to have Vitello call me up and ask me to come coach for a year to kind of give me some time to figure it all out. But yeah, it was a lot easier than most people would have it to balance both of it. But engineering's not an easy major.
And then you went on to get your master's. Do you want to teach it, or was that just something else in your educational process that you were looking to do?
When I was doing it, I actually had thought into coaching, and that was kind of where I went into the engineering education degree. I wanted to learn how to communicate with kids better. I wanted to learn how to present myself. I wanted to learn how to just be a better be able to tell my story, be able to tell what I'm trying to do better. So that was something I thought would translate to more aspects than just teaching.
All right, Tennessee and LSU this weekend. Defending national champions, though the Tigers are having a little bit of a rough run of it. The SEC is always so difficult. You look at that SEC record and say, well, this is a series Tennessee should win. But if the guys in the locker room are looking at it that way, it's not a series they're going to win. What are your keys to a weekend victory over LSU in this series?
Man, I think the biggest thing for them is from the pitching staff is limiting big numbers early in games, especially trying to get out that first, second inning. I feel like that's where we've struggled. I think, especially with I know we're Stomos going on Friday, Beam going on Sunday, and Xander going on Beam going on Saturday, Xander going on Sunday. Those guys seem to get in grooves. It's one of those things. If you, especially with Beam and Xander, watching them pitch forever, man, you get them 1, 2, 3 innings in, it's almost like they adapt to the game. They understand the lineup and they get better as the game goes on. I mean, you saw it at Alabama. Beam didn't start out with his best stuff, but he settled in as the game went on. And eliminating big mistakes early on from errors in the field and walks on the mound will help go a long way. And as you talk about with LSU, every time they come into town, it's going to be a fight.
What about that performance from Beam last Saturday, where you had used so much of the bullpen on Friday? It was so important for him to have a long outing, and he was able to get the complete game and the run rule win. What does that do for a staff when you're looking and saying, man, we gave it everything we had last night, and we poured a lot out last night. We need one of our guys to pick us up.
It's the biggest thing that Beam does, and I think it's very hidden. He does a lot of things well, but the guy is a great leader. He's a great competitor. He had a bad outing the week before, and I remember talking to him that week, and I'm like, dude, you're going to have a good outing. It's one of those things. It's you're too good of a competitor, too good of a pitcher, and you're too good of a teammate to have 2 back-to-back bad outings. And I mean, that's the thing. Anytime that we need somebody to step up and respond and do what he does, Drew Beam's the perfect guy to call on.
All right, call it. What does Tennessee do this weekend?
Man, I kind of like the way they set it up. They're going to throw Luke Holman against Beam on Saturday, and I want to say it's a sweep. That's what I want to say. I want to see we're riding a 5-game home win streak against LSU dating back to 22. They hadn't won a game at Tennessee since 2016. I think the momentum comes and continues, and I'm going to call a sweep.
It's fun to have streaks like that on our side, isn't it?
Yes, it's very fun.
Redmond Walsh, thank you so much for your time on this First Pitch Friday. We appreciate it. We appreciate everything you did on Rocky Top in uniform. Know you're doing great things now. Look forward to talking to you again down the line.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
That is VFL Redmond Walsh joining us right here on First Pitch Friday. Also coming up this weekend, Tennessee football will host the annual Orange and White scrimmage. While tickets are limited this year because of the current construction inside Neyland Stadium, Tennessee Athletics is doing a lot of fun things for fans to get together on campus, enjoy each other's company, and enjoy the game. Starting at 10:30 tomorrow, Vol Village will be open for all fans with food trucks, beverages, DJ Sturl the Pearl, our guy, and activities for all ages. The Vol Walk will begin at 11:10 a.m. Tennessee men's basketball, the Sweet 16 team, will also participate in that. Be followed by Vol Village concerts with Lindsay L. and Graylin James. All of this is free, and you can enjoy a live broadcast of the Orange and White game right there at Vol Village. Wrapping up the evening, Tennessee fans can also enjoy the baseball watch party beginning at 5:30 on the Saturday the 13th, also there in Vol Village. So if you don't have tickets to the game, you can stick around after the Orange and White game and enjoy Tennessee baseball with your fellow fans. All events, including the concerts, are free to the public, and free parking also available on the Ag campus with shuttles beginning at 9:30 a.m., also in the 11th Street Garage and White Avenue Garage. Before we wrap up today's show, let's hear from Director of Special Events with the Office of Alumni Relations, the guy who's put in a lot of frequent flyer miles following Tennessee sports this year, and that's Jordan Brantley Pruitt. Jordan, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Brian. Really appreciate you having us on, and thank you again for that interview with Redmond. I mean, that's awesome. It was so cool to hear from him and all of his experiences being with the team as a player and now as an alum. So thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for hosting all these great events with us. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
All right, well, everybody, I just want to take a few moments and talk to you all about a few different ways that you can be proud, be involved, and be invested in the University of Tennessee. The first way is you can be proud by wearing your orange, especially on Big Orange Friday. We always want to wear that orange on Friday, but any time of the week, anywhere you are in the country, make sure you rep that Big Orange. You can also take your orange on the road with you by purchasing an official Tennessee license plate, and all of those proceeds directly impact our student scholarship program, which is such a crucial part of the work that we do here on our campus. So 2 great ways that you can be proud. Another way that you can be involved is by tuning into our virtual events like this, but also joining some of our other opportunities like Connect UT. It's our new online alumni networking platform where alums can join and connect with our current students, faculty, and staff, and find a way to give back to the university, whether they live here in Knoxville or anywhere around the world. Lastly, we ask all of our alumni to be invested in our students. We ask you to make an impact in those lives of our students by giving one gift, any size, every year. You can make that gift by visiting giving.utk.edu and making that gift anytime that you're ready. Before we take on the Tigers this weekend, we're going to get started by counting down to pitch right now.
Absolutely beautiful day right here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
Bradfield to the wall. It's a 3-run shot.
20 years, but it takes a little crazy when you're facing fears. No matter what you do, it never ever disappears.
Drew Beam with the strikeout and the hop.
Lays out and makes a sensational grab. Launches one deep right field. Way back and gone.
Watch this. Let me introduce you to a brand new thing.
Nelson's going to score.
No one gonna prove to. You're looking at the king.
First pitch of the inning. Good night. To deep center field. And Mr. Brooklyn's done it again.
Watch this. This is a brand new thing.
What a lot of fun it is at Lindsey Nelson Stadium all season long. Looking forward to a big postseason run for the Vols coming up this year, and a great opportunity to dive into that with this 3-game series against LSU. Don't forget to tune into the action this weekend as the Vols take on the Tigers at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. First pitch tonight is at 7:30 on ESPNU, followed by Saturday at 5:30, Sunday at 3 on the SEC Network. By the way, we Tennessee softball this weekend on the road as well. We'll have a softball First Pitch Friday coming up for you soon. Be sure you log on to alumni.utk.edu to find out more about all of our events, both in person and online, and how you can connect with your fellow Vols. Until then, I'm Brian Rice saying go Vols and let's beat the Tigers.